Today, we are going to react to ESPN FC's predicted lineup for Real Madrid. So let's look at from the back. Courtois at the goalie, no discussion needed. Camavinga as a left back. No. That's a no. Last season, we have seen Camavinga playing left back. That wasn't an ideal solution. He played as a left back just because we had no other options. Mendy was injured, so he had to play. And it's not that he played poor, he was great as a left back. However, playing Camavinga as a left back is a waste of talent. For Camavinga, there's two best possible solutions. First one is my favorite, is as a DM. Second option could be box-to-box midfielder. He has to play at midfield. At center back, Alaba and Militao. Okay, I see no problem here because they have really good chemistry. However, being said that, I think we can shuffle a lot of options. For example, we can play Rudiger Militao, we can play Alaba Militao, we can play Alaba Rudiger, and so many different options. At right back, Carvajal. Again, we have no other option. Also, this is kind of concerning for me, because there's no rumor that we are buying any right back, which is one of the most weak position in our club. Maybe we are not buying any right back this season at least. If we don't buy right back this season, we might suffer. However, for big game, I have a solution. In big match, I think we can play Militao as a right back. He has done that for Brazil, so why not for us? In fact, when he played as a right back for Brazil, he was really great. Let's focus on midfield. Okay, Kroos and Modric as a double pivot. Have we not learned from the mistakes from this season that these two players cannot play at this position together? So who is going to be DM? I guess it has to be Kroos based on this formation. And Kroos as a DM, there's a no. Kroos doesn't have the high work rate to play as a defensive midfielder. And we have seen against City, playing Kroos as a DM, that's a suicidal decision. I think this double pivot might work against smaller teams in La Liga. However, in big matches, say Man City and Barca, I think this is not a great option at all. For those big matches, we must play either Tchouaméni or Camavinga as a CDM. Okay, if you look at the front three, Bellingham as a number 10, I don't think number 10 is Bellingham's best position. In fact, I would argue that among these three midfielders, Bellingham, Kroos and Modric, the best player to play as a number 10 would be Modric, because Bellingham is a box-to-box midfielder. That is his strength. He likes to defend. He's really solid at defending, and he likes to take the ball forward because his best strength is progressive running with the ball. And in the left, Vinicius, again, no discussion needed. We can play Vinicius and Rodrigo. We can also rotate depending on the match, depending on situations. In the right, Rodrigo or Valverde at a right winger. Again, we can also have multiple options. We signed Brahim back from Milan, so we can also play Brahim as a right winger in different matches. Given we have so many midfielders, I kind of feel that Carlo will play Fede Valverde as a right winger in a lot of matches this season. And as a striker, Joselu, again, we have no other options, right? Again, this is possible lineup as of now. This might change depending on who we sign next. We still have more than a month to sign new player, so hopefully this is not our final solution. As I said numerous times, Joselu is a good signing, great signing as a backup striker. I don't see who'd be a best as a striker in the starting lineup for Real Madrid. Yes, it might work against smaller opponents, but against big teams, I think we need better solution than this. And we can also play our Castilla player Alvaro. I think he was solid. When Alvaro played as a center forward, I think he was solid. To be honest, I don't feel confident with this lineup. So let's see what ESPN FC said about this lineup.
So we're just showing you a possible Real Madrid starting 11 because there's reports coming from the Spanish press, namely Diario AS, that they're going to reshape the team and switch things around from a 4-3-3 to a 4-2-3-1. And he's going to play as a number 10. What more can you tell us about this, Sid?
Also, 4-2-3-1 is not Carlo's favorite lineup at all.
Why would they change it up?
Well, they would change it up. I think there's one very simple reason. There's a handful of other reasons, but one very simple one. And why would they change the structure of the team? Because Karim Benzema has gone. And because they don't really have the natural replacement for him. Now, they do have a number 9 because, of course, they've signed Joselu from Espanyol, but it's a different profile of number 9. So it does different things in terms of the structure around him, in terms of the way that the two wingers combine with him, in terms of whether or not they're players who go outside and provide crosses or whether they're players who come inside and play off the forward. And I think that changes the way it works. The other reason to throw in here is I'm going to use the terrible pun now, allow me to do it. You look at Real Madrid's midfield and you've got Tchouaméni. many. You've got too many midfielders. You've got six basically midfielders.
Yeah,
honestly.
So that is true. Real Madrid has a lot of midfielders this season. In fact, I would argue that among all the clubs in Europe, probably Real Madrid has the best depth at midfield. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. When you look at Real Madrid's three-peat success, one of the reasons was midfield depth. Look at James, Isco, they were in the bench.
And you've got a situation which actually, to be honest, has surprised me, I'll be honest with you, that we've seen Modric renew, we've seen Kroos renew, and we've seen Dani Ceballos renew. Now, I thought at least one of those three, probably Ceballos, wasn't going to renew. You add to them Tchouaméni. You add to them, you've got Camavinga, who played a lot of last season at left-back. You've now got Jude Bellingham. You've also got Fede Valverde. That's 7 really, really top-class midfielders. For what is a structure of the midfield, as of last year at least, where there's only 3 in there, albeit, as I say, it's 3, plus Fede Valverde sometimes playing in the front line, plus Camavinga sometimes playing at left back. Neither of those 2 players really want to continue in that role. So you have to try and find a way of getting these players in. And if you're in a situation in which you've just lost your centre forward, then it makes sense to think, okay, well, maybe one way of dealing with this is to try and find a new structure that allows us to play more midfielders, basically, because that's where the real strength of the team lies. I think there will be a degree of rotation. You look at the Real Madrid side and you look at the number of games they're likely to play, and it's going to be 50 plus next season.
So I would agree with Sid in a sense that if you don't sign any striker or new player, say if you don't sign Mbappe, which is our new main target, right? If we cannot sign him this season, probably that's the best solution we can have. We can play more midfielders.
So even if you are, let's say, the 5th or 6th choice midfielder, Dani Ceballos, say, you're still probably going to play 20 games next year. Maybe only 10 of those as a starter, but you're going to play 20, 30 games over the course of the season. So I think it's not necessarily about saying this is what the structure will be, as saying right now they're in a position where they're looking at this, thinking about the resources they've got, and wondering where all these pieces fit, and if a shift in structure is the best way to help make them fit.
What I've said, this is probably one possible starting lineup, but not the one. Because you're going to play a lot of matches, La Liga, Champions League, Copa del Rey, and so on. You can play different rotation, different lineup, and different options. The key is to have effective, efficient rotation, which is really important. Anyway, what do you think about this possible starting lineup for Real Madrid? Do you agree with this lineup? Do you like this? Or what lineup do you prefer for Real Madrid next season?